Hello, hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Woo woo. I hope the notification goes out. I'll put it in the group today. So, 1 second. I just want to see if it actually did go out or not. Whoopsie. Oh, there it is, there. So I'm just going to give it a second and hopefully some people join us. Got some stuff to say today. Should have had my bubbles Abby up. So, yeah. It's going to be one of those kinds of days. It's Friday, though. Freaky Friday. Free for all Friday. Got some stuff to talk about today. Just going to wait a second, see if the notification goes out. One thing I've noticed on YouTube for the notifications, even for people like that you got the bell on for and stuff, it takes about 8 or 10 minutes. And I don't know if it's just on my phone, but like the person will be live for like 10 minutes before a notification goes out, if it even goes out. So that's something that to be aware of. So I noticed that a few times this week alone. Sorry, just having a drink. So yeah, it's Friday. Got some videos, got some stuff to talk about. It's going to be a good time. Thank you for joining. So yeah, where do I want to start? Let's see. Well, I'm in Facebook jail. Shocker. But don't worry, guys. We do have due process in Canada, so I'm waiting for the bail hearing. That's never going to come. And it's all because I was too verbal during a live that was on Facebook last night regarding the Emergencies Inquiries Act. So now I've noticed today that I can't comment on anything. I get this weird message that pops up when I try to. I can post things, but that's about it. I can't comment. So yeah, I'm restricted. They didn't even tell me. It's kind of funny, but it's kind of not, like, I mean, we're supposed to have freedom of speech, like that's a big right that we have that hasn't been trampled over, with horses and whatnot. But yeah, it's going to be one of those kinds of days. So let's see, where do I want to start? Maybe let's start with some videos. 1 second. Hey, dude, happy Friday. Woo woo. Let's see. For those of you who follow, okay, let's see. Hang on 1 second. Let's start off with, where do I want to start? Well, let's start with this. If you guys were like following, the Freedom Convoy when it was like, when it was in its infancy stage and everybody was like traveling from Western Canada towards Ottawa. And if you guys remember the Zello app and all the sleepless nights that we spent up talking to the truckers and like, virtually on their journey with them. So I'm going to play this song. And if you were involved at that stage of the game, this is going to really bring back some memories. So let's start here.
Without fear. Now really don't know how we ever got here. We let the little things pile up. We fence ourselves in. Sometimes you gotta tear it all down, start over again. Put the key in and drive. Send your mind on down the road. Pass everything you know. Take a drive down Main Street. People do it all the time. People do it all the time. Cruise up to the mountains. Get close to the stars. If you find yourself unhappy where you are, just get in your car and drive. Send your mind on down the road. Pass everything you know. Turn your wheels and roll, just drive. Put some blacktop in front of you. Let those white lines run under you. Heading for somewhere. Leaving something behind. Just it don't matter at all. Just it don't matter at all. Just it don't matter at all.
That video brings back so many freaking memories. Oh my God. So, one second. Hey Steve, how's it going? So that was like, that song represented like the Freedom Convoy, okay? So like the reason why I keep talking about this a lot right now, again, I've always talked about it a lot, but I'm really trying to bring a focus to the forefront to remind people of what really happened, because we've got a couple inquiries that are going on in Ottawa right now. One has already started, the other one's getting ready to start. There's a lot of attention that's being focused on these, because I think at this point now, I can't speak for everybody, but you know, my opinion is that basically this is going to be the be all end all. If you know, there's no accountability in the end as a result of these inquiries, if there is no change, if there is no repercussions or punishment that comes as a result of these commissions, I think we're going to see another video being made soon, like I just played. So, you know, like I said, I can't speak for everybody. I just know my opinion. But yeah, so, you know, I'm banned on Facebook right now. I'm in jail again. All because I was commenting on the inquiries, you know, hang on one sec. All because I was commenting on the inquiries commission. One of the MPs that sits on the board for the commission was airing it live. And like, I was so outspoken, as I always am. And I think the comment that got me banned or on restrictions, you know, like the ankle bracelet, I think was the comment that says, I despise all of these people. Except Larry Brock. He seems to be the hero of this. So I don't despise him. But Larry Brock, can you please take my you know, status off restricted or whatever? Because I'm on your side, bud. Like, so but yeah, so that's, oops. Uh-oh, did I do something? I did something. Okay. So yeah, we're living in a communist dictatorship as we speak now. Oh, dude, it's about to get so much worse. Like, I'm afraid to say it, and I'm not trying to be the bad news bearer here, but I think we all see the writing on the wall. And, like, you know, we are in uncharted territories all the way around the frickin' world. Like, we are on the brink, okay? So, like, if you believe the reports that are out now, like with this whole Russia situation, like, apparently it's been confirmed by numerous people that there are U.S. troops on the on the land over there. And Biden is telling people that he hasn't sent troops over, but there's been multiple confirmed reports that, yeah, there are troops over there. So we see where this is going. You know, people want to get involved in things that have absolutely nothing to fucking do with them and, you know, jeopardize billions of people's lives. But hey, you know, what do I know? So, you know, I'm just here to talk about some stuff, get some stuff out, you know. Let's go back. Let's, you know, remind people.
The small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing do not represent the views of Canadians who have been there for each other, who know that following the science and stepping up to protect each other is the best way to continue to ensure our freedoms, our rights, our values as a country.
Yeah, the small fringe minority, huh? How about that, old chestnut? I'm going to show you another video that shows you just how small fringe we actually fucking are, okay?
Day I shipped out, they numbered a dozen. Upon my return, we're 100 or so. From the coast and from the prairies, I bet they keep coming. Add one more name from Ontario and carry me home down the highway of heroes. People above with the flags flying low. Carry me softly down the highway of heroes. True patriot love, there was never more. No visions of glory. I serve without question of personal gain. Seek no justification. It's not part of my story, and it offers no comfort to the ones who remain. Just carry me home down the highway of heroes. People above, the flags flying low. Carry me softly down the highway of heroes. True patriot love, there was never more. Took up my vocation. I was called by my nation without hesitation. My answer I gave. Now I'm not wondering the things that I might have been are no consolation to the forgotten brain. So carry me home down the highway of heroes. With the flags flying low. Carry me softly down the highway of heroes. True patriot love, there was never more. Carry me home down the highway of heroes. People I love with their hands on low. And carry me softly down the highway of heroes.
Yeah, so like there was some good aerial shots in that. And one thing that really upsets me about the whole thing is that not only did they suppress us and censor us then, they're still trying to do it now. And now is when it matters the most, because now is when we are supposed to see some results, right? We're supposed to see some accountability. We're supposed to see some justification for their actions. There's so much video footage that they tried their best to scrub off the internet because they just didn't want the masses to see the reality of what's going on. And the reality of what's going on is, the internet is forever. Hate to tell you guys, the eraser people, the people that don't like to see reality, or they would like to suppress reality, and twist it to suit a narrative that is not accurate. And so, we all have backups. Everyone has backups, and hopefully it's fallen into the right hands. So last night I was watching this live, like I said, about the Emergencies Act, and the focus was on the former Ottawa Police Commissioner, ex-police Slowly, right? Totally appropriate name for the dude. And I spell it wrong on purpose because, so like the part this is going to make me sound so bad, but the part that I love the most out of this whole thing is watching all of these people that are about to get into a really, really freaking hot seat and won't have their PR people there to help them. They've all been instructed and advised by, their counsel to, offer the bare minimum, basically run the clock out because, for some stupid reason, because their time is so precious in the House of Commons, everything is timed. It goes down to a timer. And like, we're dealing with politicians, seasoned criminals, in my opinion, and they know how to run the clock out, right? So if they don't like the question that keeps getting hammered at them, because they know that if they answer, it's going to incriminate them, they just talk and they run the clock out. It's it's so obvious. Stevie Wonder can fucking see what's happening here, people. So, then I should have actually, my Avi today should have been Captain Obvious. Oh my God. You guys, like, I seriously couldn't even make this shit up if I wanted, okay? I don't even have that much of an imagination in terms of this shit. But that's what I should have done. I really regret not putting my Captain Obvious hat on today, because that is what this is. So, but like I said, the part that I'm enjoying a lot is watching them squirm. Is it bad to say that I want to see them cry? Because like, they have no idea the pain and anguish that they've caused millions of people in a couple and a half years. And like, they're not even beginning to realize, whether there is accountability or not, there is court of public opinion. And all I can say is that I would not want to be one of these people that are about to get in the hot seat, because whether they end up getting anything done to them as a result of this, we all know that's not going to happen, because you guys, they have their fucking invisibility shields on, and they are just exempt from the law and from any sort of repercussion, because they are the law. They are, immunity. Like, they got this golden immunity shield. I want one of those, okay? Because like, I can't even say what I want to say as a person, as an individual with, freedom of speech. I can't even say that on freaking Facebook. That's why I hate Facebook so much. But hey Chris, how's it going? Yeah, it's like, so I'm enjoying the uncomfortability that I am seeing with these people. And so okay, so here's one of the let me give you a for instance, okay? I can't remember the question that was asked of him. Oh, for some reason they were really focusing on why he stepped down during the convoy. The police commissioner of Ottawa stepped down during the convoy. Okay, I'm going to tell you, in my opinion, why I believe that is. Obviously, I can't state it as fact. I'm not him. But as an outsider looking in, with the knowledge that I have, and being so, involved as an outsider, as a participant, as a Canadian, I'm just going to say that, there was obviously some politics behind the scenes, and some pressure in my opinion, I'll say there was a lot of pressure put on him, okay, to make decisions that, in my opinion, he didn't seem comfortable making. Okay. And that was just not going to happen. You know, if you don't go along with what, you know, the boss's boss says, then it's your ass on the block. Okay. And this is coming from someone, who's management. So I know how the game is played. So there's a lot of politics behind the scenes that people are not aware of. And, you know, you can't legally talk about because there's such a thing as incrimination, right? So the big focus on Slowly, the former police chief commissioner of the Ottawa Police Department, they just really kept focusing on why he left during the convoy and at the time that he did. And, you know, they were coaxing him. They were saying, like, you were almost at the finish line. You almost were done your career. Why? Why would you step down? It doesn't make sense. We want to know why you quit your job. So he can't obviously say why. Like, I mean, and it's listen, people, I'm going to say this. If you are one of the people that were involved in making decisions that ultimately caused damage to humans, to people, injuries were sustained psychologically, physically, as a result of what was, in my opinion, not fine police work. It was thugs in green with only their eyes showing, no badge, no identification on them, just the numbers that were on their helmets. And just, I'll never forget it. Like I seen it happening in real time. Like it was just, I don't know. I have no military background, right? So for me to see something like that, like within feet, I have to be honest when I say it was intimidating. Like extremely intimidating, because at this point they had us surrounded. Okay. So this is when things, like when the temperature just completely changed. Okay. And get this is when my friend wanted to go down, and I was like, oh dude. So she asked me, like, I want to say at like 2 PM, do you want to go down to Ottawa? And I did, but I seen what was happening, and I seen that, like, it was, things were turning. Okay. So she asked me at like 2 PM if I wanted to go down to Ottawa, and I just, like, I didn't answer her, and I was like, well, are you really sure? Because like things are changing, and like the cops are moving in, and it's not so friendly right now. Are you really, really sure that you want to go? And so she's like, well, what do you think? And I'm like, I'll get back to you, because I was watching like everyone's lives as this was happening, right? So I made the decision at like very late at night. I think I got to her place around, well, I don't know exactly. I would have to say after midnight at night. That's how long it took me. Because I was like, okay, if we're gonna go, I want to go like at night, because you know, when it all comes down, it's not gonna happen at night, right? And like, keep in mind, we were 6 hours, five hours from Ottawa, something like that, right? It was quite the drive, and it was also winter, so it added on to the drive as well, right? And like, this was the point that you have to keep in mind, that like they were closing the entrances at the 416 and 417 to get off the highway in the day. So I knew that if we were going to get in, it would have to be at night, right? Otherwise they were literally stopping people and rerouting traffic. Like, they were not letting you in at this point. Now, I the reason why I'm mentioning that is that's important, because they keep calling it, you know, an occupation, and, you know, an insurrection, and that we closed down Ottawa. And I want to point out that it wasn't any of the Freedom people that closed anything down. It was the police. And that's important, especially in the days going forward. There's also another story that I want to talk about that, funnily enough, you can't find the videos of anymore, right? Scrubbed. And like, yes, I have backups on every device, and I've had like 3 or 4 devices in the last year, so who knows where it's saved, but I know I've got the footage of it. And there was, okay, so this is when things were going down. Sorry, I got distracted off my first damn subject. Let me remind me of the thugs, okay? Someone type that in the chat for me, so I can remember that. Thugs, just put thugs, and I'll come back to that, because when I get talking, I totally forget. So But there's something else I want to highlight, and it's very important because it's a major thing that happened, and it should be documented. And I hope that the owners of this restaurant are summoned to speak at the commission, because it's super important. So what happened is the police shut down all the businesses in Ottawa. It wasn't the protesters. So get that fact straight right there. And so the ones that did stay open, like there was a Tim Hortons right down near Wellington that stayed open, that had more business during the convoy than it had in the last previous years because of COVID. Right. So these guys were loving it. So don't let the media point out or let you believe that that these businesses weren't loving the money that they were making, because they were losing everything. They had no income coming in. It was on lockdown. So there was a Tim Hortons that stayed open, and there was a restaurant called the Iconic Cafe. Hang on, I gotta grab a drink. And I remember watching this as it happened. Like, this was a big deal. It's no longer there. Go figure, huh? Because after what happened, what the story I'm about to tell you happened, was they lost their business license and they were ultimately evicted. So, and it was because of this convoy. Sorry, I got to turn the water off for a second so I can get a drink. 1 second. Sorry. Sorry about that. I hate making noise during live because it totally distracts me. But so yeah, this business, the Iconic Cafe, it was a little restaurant. I can't remember the name of the damn street, but it was not far away from like the activity, right? Like from all the from the downtown core. So these guys stayed open, and I want to say it was either Druthers or Not TV that covered it live as it was happening. Like, these guys were streaming everywhere and telling people to share it out. And like, I'll have to go through my, secret places on the internet to try and see if I can find the footage. And I've been looking and looking and looking. But anyways, the Iconic Cafe stayed open, and the police didn't like that they stayed open. But again, small business owners, right? Losing everything. You're going to fight for what you've got. And like the truckers were going in, everybody, not just the truckers, everybody that was there, were going in and supporting this business because they were in our corner, right? Like they felt the same way that we did. That's why they stayed open. And like, they were welcoming people in, and like, they were, so happy to just have people there and to be making money and, supporting something that they really, really believed in. And like, the truckers would go in and wash the floors and everything. Like, it was like they became family, right? Like, everybody that was there like just has this common bond now because we have that experience, like we seen it. We weren't watching it. We seen it. We lived it. We were there, right? So the Iconic Cafe stayed open, and obviously this is at the point where I believe the emergency order was still in effect. Or had just ended. I am not exactly sure on that aspect of it. But at any rate, one of the guys was streaming this live. He was inside of the restaurant, the Iconic Cafe, and the police surrounded this restaurant. Okay, like completely surrounded it. And there was a back and forth confrontation between the previous owners of the Iconic Cafe, and the cops. And it was basically a standoff because the cops had this place surrounded. Like, keep in mind, it's a building that was all windows. Like, there was no shelter. That was the creepy thing of it all, right? Like, there was nowhere for them to hide. It was all glass windows. Like, so we seen the cops surround the place. They were demanding to get in. They were demanding that the owners of the restaurant open the doors. And the owner was like, no fucking way, bud. Like, and I would do the same. I would, like, what am I going to do? I'm going to open the door when you've got the place surrounded with very aggressive police threatening to break their windows. if they didn't let them in. And you think, like, he was way outnumbered. His wife and his children were also inside of the restaurant at the time that this was occurring, and his wife was standing right beside him saying, no, you guys are only pissed off at us because we're not complying with you guys telling us to stay closed, and we're not letting you in. And then they tried to say that it was, and she's like, the only person I have to legally by law allow entry into my building at this time is a food inspector. And this was at night, so there was no food inspectors around. So she was standing her ground. They were both, the man and the wife were standing their ground. And I was like totally in their corner. Like, I wish I could have been there, but I also would have been like extremely terrified too, you know, but I wouldn't have backed down. Never back down. Like, you know, because people will never forget what they've seen, and it doesn't matter what happens to them going forward, because we don't expect anything to happen. We know how the game is played, but we know. Okay, so we know what happened, we've seen what happened, we'll never forget what happened, and you're forever tainted now. No matter where you go, that will follow you. You know, when you lay down to sleep at night, those unlawful orders that the so-called powers that be were making you do will haunt your memory for the rest of your natural born life. And to me, that's punishment enough. So, yeah, so back to when the cops were surrounding the house, or sorry, the restaurant, I apologize. And they weren't letting them in. They wanted them to come in. They wanted to basically shake them down, in my opinion, you know, steal what money they had, you know, smash up the place, like, you know, the way that normal good police officers operate, you know, not the ones that, you know, protect the public, you know, that took that oath to serve and protect, you know. They want to be remembered as the thugs holding the batons, threatening to smash their windows because they wouldn't let them in so they could get assaulted, in my opinion. And they obviously felt threatened themselves enough to call their lawyer during, you know, the standoff, let's call it. So, you know, this exchange happened for at least a half an hour to an hour, and it was live streamed in real time, like as it was happening. And ultimately they went away, the cops. They just conceded, and they're like, you know, our lawyer says that we don't have to let you in, and blah blah blah. So I'm surprised that the cops didn't you know, just bust in anyways, but they knew that, like, they were recording it, right? Like, they knew that this was, you know, that judgment day is ultimately one day gonna come, and that's where we're at now. Is it's judgment time. So, like, all of these actions that have happened, that have been documented, that have been, you know, misled by the media and people in powers of positions of power, I'm sorry, that we're supposed to be able to trust, have just taken us down this horrible road, in my opinion. And now Judgment Day is here, and they're scared. Huh. And they should be very, very scared, in my opinion. But like I said, even if nothing happens to them, even if they don't end up in jail or have massive fines and lawsuits and what have you, it's going to follow them. It's going to hinder them from getting jobs. It's changed the way that people look at them. You know, so back to the story about the police commissioner that I was talking on last night on this live that got me in Facebook jail. They were focusing on the former police commissioner, and they wanted to know why he left. And you know what he said? He brought up Black Lives Matter and racism, basically, because these people at this point, I'm just going to put it out there, you know, at this point in the game, like, if you think that this is just going to go away, it's not. Like, we might not know what goes on behind the scenes. We might not know as a public what the outcome was. I'm sure there is some level of, well, they're making people sign non-disclosure agreements that they can't talk about it. So, as management, there's a certain level, like I understand that to a degree, because like I can't, talk about employees' personal business from a legal perspective, because that opens me up to lawsuits and, damages and liability. So, but it's very soothing to me to watch them squirm, to watch them be extremely uncomfortable. Um, and now when it matters the absolute most and the eyes of the world are watching this happen and are going to watch for the next several months this happen with different commissions, it's going to it's going to open a lot of people's eyes. And to the ones, to those friends, to those family, to those people who turned their back on you and thought that you were crazy, because what rights did you lose anyway? That's my favorite one. To all of those people, I'm not going to say I told you so. I'm going to say you're welcome. And I truly mean that. It's going to give all of us the satisfaction of knowing that, you know what, we stood up for something that was so important to us that we put ourselves in a position to lose everything, financially, physically, criminally, in the eyes of public opinion. Like, we had absolutely everything to lose, and some people did, and some people still are. But we're going to know in the end that we were on the right side of history. So that's what the outcome of this is going to be, is we are going to get validation that we were right all along. And to me, that can be justice enough. So that's what I'm setting my expectations so low so I don't get disappointed again, because I've learned over the course of my life that, you don't ever expect anything, because you'll always get disappointed. So if nothing else, at least walk away with that knowledge of, we were fucking right, you guys. And all of the names that we were called, hate your neighbor. We're going to set up a snitch line on your neighbor if they have more than, 5 people in their home. Like, just the absolute psychological warfare that's happened here is a level of bullshit that, like, most people haven't lived in life. But if you have, it affects you more than people realize, in ways that you just would never understand. Like, I mean, I could try and explain it to you, but you're just not going to get it, because it's not something that you've lived or experienced. And like, I'm sick of explaining myself to people, like, and now it's at a point where silence is fucking compliance to me. It's at the point where it matters most. And if I was one of those people that, made bad decisions during that time, and I fucking well knew it, and I knew that the eyes of the world were on me, you know what I would do? I would actually tell the fucking truth. Because he who talks first walks first, okay? And like, for slowly, I'm going to tell you the words that he probably wanted to say but can't, because he knows that if he does, he has a bullseye on his back. Is that he, in my opinion, probably got so much pressure from the people, the HACs, the head assholes in charge, that he knows he's signing his own metaphorical death certificate if he says that, yes, that's what they told me to do and I didn't agree with it. So instead he plays the racist card. Oh, they're targeting me. Racism is real in the workplace. Like, you know what? I truly have no respect for people with no integrity and, like, liars. and look you in the face and still lie. Like, you know what? You're not insulting my intelligence. You're making yourself look like the asshole that you are. If you are sitting in someone's face, looking them in the eye, feeding them a line of bullshit, and they know it and they're calling you out and they're saying, look, you can say whatever you want, but this is what the situation is. And I know you're full of shit. And they'll still look you in the eye and lie. Like, I mean, that to me is pathological. Like, you are a sociopath. You are a psychopath, in my opinion, because now you're believing your own bullshit. And at best, it's narcissistic if it's none of the other things that I mentioned, because like it takes some sort of, I don't know, on a psychological level, what it takes to sit and lie and look someone in the eye and lie and know you're lying and they know you you're lying and you know they know, and to still sit there and do it. There is something that is not firing in your brain. Like, is it a neurotransmitter? Is it a certain part of the brain? Like, I'm not sure what it is. Like, I'm not a doctor, but I'm educated enough to see that that is some sort of something. Like, something isn't right in your head. Okay, I don't know. We'll just leave it there. Hey, Chris Chalk. Yeah, so we'll just leave it there because I don't know what it is. I'm not a doctor. But I'm going to say that it would probably fall in the psychopath, sociopath, there's a certain profile of people, probably not far off of, like, from a serial killer perspective, in my opinion. Like, it takes a special kind of person to be this type of person. So this, like, it's so interesting. And like, I've never liked politics, and I still don't. I hate it, actually. And I'm doing the most un-Canadian thing I've ever done in my life by, speaking about not really so much the politics, but more the decisions, the actions, the, repercussions of decisions that have been made that have affected human beings. That's more what I'm focused on than the actual politics. And it's just unfortunate that it happens to be like a political issue that I'm talking about, and not, like, say, a beef between two YouTubers. But it's on a magnitude level of times a million of what you think. Like, you could be on the YouTube streets and have a beef with creators and, do the back and forth thing, and, everybody's following it. And it's like, oh my God, like, this is crazy. Like, times that by a million, because you've got people that are not just, beefing back and forth in YouTube and making threats to you, but the people that are doing it to us are in positions of power that have, like, the ability without cause to just come to your house, arrest you, and take you to jail, and God knows when you're going to get a bail hearing. And that is what we're dealing with in real time. So that is the reason why this means something to me. It's just, like I said, very unfortunate that it happens to be a political issue that I'm talking about. And it's not about what party you support or who is right or who is wrong. We're talking about legal issues. This is my focus on the situation, is from a legality standpoint, is from a human rights standpoint, is from a person that had damages to myself as well, that affected my life because of situations. So it's kind of like more of a personal thing to me, because it affected my life differently than maybe some of the people that have had, this is just my perspective. This is just the way that I see things. This is because of experiences that happened to me directly, that I am, like, putting my middle finger up to the government and being like, you know what, this isn't right, and you guys know it. And, like, really, that's what it comes down to. And you know what I've realized about the world lately that is just so disheartening to me, and, like, it doesn't sit right with me, and it makes me want to change it, and it makes me angry, is that, like, when you're a good person and you speak up and you stand up for yourself and for others in a situation where you have absolutely nothing to gain and everything to lose, and you do it anyways, to me, that's integrity. To me, that is extremely courageous. And I respect that like more than anything in this life. And I've put myself in a position where I have everything to lose and have lost. And maybe I'm at the point now where I don't give a fuck what happens now. But that's the issue for me. So when you guys are like watching my videos and are like, oh, this bitch is like, you know, on this side, it's not about sides. It's not about politics even. It's about decisions that were made in real time that affected real people. And now Judgment Day is here. And if we don't get some sort of remedy out of this situation, some sort of justice in one way or another, like what they seen in Ottawa the first time will be on a much larger scale. And it's coming, like, and I hope it doesn't, and I hope that someone does the right thing here. But like, it seems like, you know, when you stand up, when you voice your opinion, not only do you put yourself like right out there, like right out and up front and center, and like you don't have a bulletproof vest on. And you know the shots are gonna metaphorically come at you, and you got like your arms out, like, you know, from side to side, and say, here, like, do what you're gonna do. Because I don't have an invisibility shield like all of these other people. So you put yourself right out there in Lime's light, right in the fire, right in the lion's den. And you got nobody. And they reward the ones that have done you wrong. It's very disheartening to people that believe that there should be justice and there should be some sort of reconciliation. But it's a world that, like, I can't even understand it, because it's like, you know, you would think in a perfect world that it would be the good people that are getting praised, the ones that are taking the stand and saying, hey, you know, but no, those are the ones that get hit the worst. They get censored, they get charged, they get labeled, they get targeted, they get harassed, they get everything. And like, if this is what reality is nowadays, it's just not a place where I want to be. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it is, you know, let's reward bad behavior, illegal behavior, you know, and let's come down hard on the ones that are like fighting for it and saying, fuck you, this is wrong, and I'm not taking it. You know, I wouldn't do it to you, and you're not gonna fucking do this to me. Yeah. Reward the bad and crap on the good. That's a bad attitude. I don't like it. And that seems to be the world these days. And how do you escape it? Like, I mean, it's so fucking corrupt, in my opinion. But like, you can't do anything about it, right? Because you're censored and you can't comment on posts. You're in Facebook jail. They remove your YouTube channels. They turn everybody against you. You know, so like, where does that put you? What kind of position does that put you in? You know what I'm saying? Because wherever that position is, that's where a lot of us feel like we are. We're stuck in between, you know, what's right and what's wrong, and who knows what. And if you got the answer, let me know what it is. Please let me know what it is. Most of us history buffs. Well, and that's the problem. Let's repeat history that did not serve us well the first time. Like, there are a bunch of toddler fucking lunatics running places that they have no business even being a part of, never mind running. Like, I'm just going to say this, and whatever, I'll suffer the consequences. But in my opinion, Joe Biden needs a fucking life alert and a compass, okay? Like, I have seen that guy go on stage in a world, like, I'm not kidding. Somebody put this montage together where like it was him speaking, addressing the nation, and like it was a montage of multiple fucking videos where he didn't even know how to get off the stage. I'm not kidding you. It was the funniest thing. Someone took the time and edited all these clips together. It was the funniest thing. There was so many of them, and it's like, is nobody concerned? Like, is his doctor not watching, him on TV, being like, maybe there's something cognitively wrong with this person. Maybe they just have a bad sense of direction. Maybe he needs a fucking compass or a GPS to help him get off the stage. Like, oh my God. Like, holy fuck. And then there was one video where like two people, his handlers or advisors or whatever you call them, had to come and get him, and he was still confused as to which way to go. Like, oh my God. Like, you can't make this shit up. Like, this is comedy gold if you look at it that way. Like, and at some point you have to look at it that way. Like, it's just because it can't be real, you guys. So I don't know. It's just, yeah. It's really funny, but he's totally lost. Oh my God. Like, he can't find his way out of a fucking wet paper bag, that guy. I'm not kidding. And don't get me wrong, our child RPM is no better. He is no better. Like, he needs a fucking bottle and a rattle. You know what I mean? Because like, oh my God. Like, I could edit clips together and I could put it back up on my channel, but it'll just get removed again. Like, I mean, look for it yourself. It's on YouTube. It's all over YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, all of this stuff that I'm talking about. Like, if he doesn't like something that's being said, or the way that, like, the pressure that he's in, he'll run out of the parliament. The other day, when he was supposed to be in the House of Commons, he went bungee jumping. Like, oh my God. Like, I wonder if I tried that. Like, I wonder if I said to my work, I can't come into work today because I'm going to go bungee jumping. I wonder how well that would work out for me. Like, seriously, don't worry about it. So, right now, Jagmeet Singh, another one, he's in fucking JT's little pocket. You know what I mean? He's come down with COVID. Just like we know JT's going to do in a few days when he's supposed to testify, and he won't be able to because he'll be on his private jet making a climate change tax, to go bungee jumping or something. Maybe this time he'll jump out of an airplane. Like, holy fuck, you guys. And these are our leaders. Like, our leaders get away with this. So let's recap the example that the liberals just happened to, I'm sorry, it's politics, but that this group of people are so concerned on all of the wrong things. So let's recap what they've taught us, is that it's okay to lie. It's okay to cheat. It's okay to break any law you want because you make them. And they have these invisibility shields that just bullshit just bounces off this invisibility shield, and they're just wearing those capes. And so and then when you get caught in the lying, then you just double down, look them in the eye, and just try and feed them a line of bullshit and believe it. And then let's call names, let's put a tax on that. Let's come down with COVID at the time when they're trying to make us testify. And if we do have to go, we're just going to run out the clock or preach cabinet confidentiality. Like, don't worry about the documents that have been destroyed. Don't worry about the ones that they've had time now to, destroy, get rid of. Like, these people are supposed to be, educated. You seize the hard drives. There's cops that don't want to go and testify, that even though they've been subpoenaed, So, like, let's try that as a citizen. Get a subpoena to court and decide that you're not going to go because you don't want to tell the truth, right? So you don't go. But don't worry about, if you were just a human citizen and not anybody special, just salt of the earth, scum of the earth, formerly known as the middle class. Like, try not going to court when you've been subpoenaed and see if there's no warrant for your arrest. Okay, these are all facts. Like, the documents have been destroyed. The safety minister, the one that runs the RCMP, Mendocino, Crazy Marco, or what do they call him? Is that what it is? Is it? I can't remember. There is a nickname for him. Hey, Montauk. There is a nickname for him. He's another one. So, you know, I really should do like, I'm getting very visual with this now. So, okay. So he is in charge of the police. He was in the hot seat yesterday. And again, I have to say, I just love watching them squirm. And yeah, so, you know, you have to laugh about it all because it just is unbelievable. But, you know, much like what happened during the Freedom Convoy, people are going to see finally the truth of what we've all seen for so long and what some people refuse to see. And now they're not going to be able to hide it because it's televised. You know, like the House of Commons has a recording. They're not going to be able to take this off the internet. They are not going to be able to scrub your internet. They're not going to be able to take your channels this time because it's going to be documented in real life. And we're all watching and we're all waiting, and it really falls on them and what they decide to do about it. And it's extremely interesting. Very interesting. Like, if I don't gamble much, okay, but if I was a betting person, I know which way I'd be leaning towards. Or have the foresight to see the bigger picture of what will happen if we don't see results, in my opinion. Mental, Marco, thank you. Yeah, that is what it is. I kept thinking like maniac, but I'm like, no, that doesn't sound right. Mental, Marco, yeah. So, okay, so get this logic. He was in the fucking hot seat yesterday, and they were talking about, okay, so right now what they're doing is they're attacking people's firearms, okay? Listen to this one, okay? Oh my God, this will resonate with my American friends because they really love their right to bear arms. So listen to this bullshit. Mental Marco. He is the safety minister. So he is in charge of the police and the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The thugs on the horses that ran the people over. Yeah, that's them. That he runs them. So that's how confident we are in this guy already. You know, look at that little picture in my corner of my right corner of the screen. It's an RCMP, a Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer on a horse, and the horse's blood, the hooves have blood all over it. So they were talking about this. What they're doing now to the firearms is they have a program. Okay, so they've restricted handguns from being imported to Canada. They have a program, a buyback program from legal gun owners to hand in their assault rifle weapons to the police in exchange for money. This is the mentality of the people that we're dealing with. And this is why he's called Mental Marco. Okay. So he was in the hot seat yesterday, and they were like, okay, statistics show that, you know, since the time you people, like Don Cherry said, you people, you know, since your party has been in charge, you know, assaults, murders, deadly assault crimes have increased. I can't remember by the percentage, but it was an alarming rate. And what is your plan to fix that? And he mentions this buyback program. And she said, okay, well, that's a waste of money. I'm going to just bottom line it, like I'm paraphrasing here, okay? So she goes, okay, well, that's a waste of money because the crimes that are occurring, these serious, heinous crimes that have increased exponentially since you've been in charge, bud, you know, have come from not the legal gun owners, but like the gangs and the people that, you know, you buy certain things that have maybe file numbers, you know, scratched off of things. You know what I'm saying? You know, don't focus on them. What's their incentive? Like, you got to speak to the guys that are going around doing drive-bys. How are you going to convince those people to sell their guns back to you? Tell me. Please do tell, bud. And you know, like this lady, and the best part is it was a woman grilling this bozo's ass because she knew she had him. Oh man, I'm gonna have to go back and find the clip. I know where to get it. There is a YouTube channel called This Guy's Garage. And he takes like the best of the best clips. He puts them all on this channel. And I'm telling you, the evidence, it speaks for itself. And Stevie fucking Wonder will be able to see what is happening here in real time to real people. But hey, you guys, there's nothing to see here because we are worried about all of this stuff, like more like pronouns and stuff like that. That's more important than, you know, reality. You guys, come on, get with it. Like, where the fuck are your priorities? You know, oh my God. Like, holy fuck. I swear to God, I keep saying, I feel like we're getting punked. Like, oh, I'm embarrassed to be a Canadian because of this. Like, oh my God. Like, guilt by proxy. Like, holy fuck. These people have no awareness at all whatsoever. Like, holy fuck. There was some guys in Toronto, or not Toronto, sorry, Ottawa, that one of the dudes, well, there's a couple of them actually that I follow down there, but the non-crazy Ottawa people, because a lot of people in that city are legit need a white jacket, not kidding, serious, like, believe me when I tell you. But there's two normal people from Ottawa, and so I follow them, and the other day they were standing outside of Parliament. Okay, the MPs and the House had just gotten off work. I don't know if it was 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock or whatever, but they were all coming out of the House of Commons. Which, like, this guy had the best seat in the House, like right out front. Okay, well, actually no, CBC had the best seat in the House. They were at the door, you know, waiting like a bunch of stalkers, you know, literally at the door for the people to come out. And so one of the live streamers, God love him, he is like an in-your-face kind of guy, like, hey, I'm here, and what about it? Like, what are you gonna do, right? So he had a tip that JT, the toddler prime minister, baby Huey and his fucking diaper, they were waiting for him to come out of Parliament because they wanted to talk to him. Like, you know, God forbid you should be able to talk to your elected officials. Like, what the hell? I mean, come on, right? So they're standing out front. His buddy's wearing a fuck Trudeau flag. So they had a lot of friends in uniform standing around him, if you know what I'm saying, right? And they wanted to just catch him on video. And, you know, like, there was people rolling out of there after work. And, like, some of them, like, were shaking hands with the guys and, you know, like, hey, good job. Like, really respect what you're trying to do here. You know, got your back kind of thing. Well, of course, Trudeau doesn't come out. Now, okay, Dacey, his name's Chris Dacey, but he goes by Dacey Chris, I think, on Facebook is where I follow him for his footage of Ottawa, right? So, dude, you were totally on the right track, but you need to have, like, you know, what do you call them? People, you know, the pop-up reporters that just jump from the trees like a cougar. You need one of, like, a couple of those people, right? Because, like, you know, as soon as you guys were out there and as soon as that F Trudeau flag was seen, like, you know, there's people talking into their fucking watches, like, you know, 12 o'clock, watch for this guy, like, go out door B. You know what I mean? Like, and unfortunately, this is the way that you need to deal with these people, because this is the example that they have set to us. Like, they're about to get schooled in their own politics in a way that they might not see beneficial. Maybe it'll be their turn to feel uncomfortable with the things that are being forced down their throats, metaphorically speaking. Let's see how they deal with that. Hey, MB. Sorry, guys, I get talking and then I forget to look at the phone. Hang on 1 second. Oh, thank you. See, this is why I need comments to remind me of what I was talking about. Yeah, Marco Mendocino, Mental Marco, it's been now documented in the House of Commons that he doctored up some documents about certain weapons. So they were grilling him, and they're like, you know, what's your plan? Like, you're focusing on the legal gun owners, but what about, like, the illegal gun owners? What's your plan to attack that? Because that's where the crime is really coming from. It's not the legal gun owners, right? So he didn't have an answer for that. Not a viable answer. He ran the clock out. Remember, I was talking about that before, about if they don't have an answer that isn't going to make them look good, they will baffle you with bullshit. And unfortunately, there's a time limit because these people's times are so fucking valuable that like we have to time conversations to like 4 minutes, and it doesn't matter what point you're about to prove or get someone to admit to. 4 minutes is 4 fucking minutes, and that's just the way it is. Because this is it, their time is valuable, right? Like, oh my god! Like, I understand there needs to be a structure. I understand that like time may be limited, but like we're dealing with something so extremely serious. Like, and he was called out on his bullshit. He has no plan to target the illegal gun owners. He's trying to go after the legal gun owners. And, of course, people aren't so quick to hand over their firearms. Why would you? And then the point was also made. This was a good one. And damn it, this woman, I can't remember her name, but I'm telling you guys, she's going up. She is going places because she is on the money. Okay. So she goes, so let me get this straight. The guns that you are trying to ban, like there can't be more than 5 in the chamber. So it's a certain type of long rifle that the indigenous people use to hunt because that's their way of life, right? And so it's going to restrict the indigenous people again. Like they just keep going after the indigenous people, right? Like that's the big thing in Canada is the indigenous people's rights and like how they've been treated. And it's just like I would have to dedicate a live strictly to just that one day because that's a whole other topic on its own. But it's a very extremely valid point. And you know what? I will cover that one day. Because it's something that does really need to be talked about. So when the question was posed, so you're going after the indigenous people again with their supports of food, like, and what are you going to do to these people when they don't come and offer up their legal guns to you? What are you going to do? Are you going to go knock on their fucking doors? Because people have been doing that. Officials have already been doing that. And what are you going to do? Because you can't go into people's houses without a fucking warrant. You can't seize their possessions without a warrant, and they're legally registered. So there's nothing that you can do, and you know it. And you're a failure as a safety minister. Your cops, in my opinion, are completely corrupt. Not all of them, most of them, like 99% of them, in my opinion, based on what I've seen. And there are still probably a couple good ones out there, but most of them have stepped down because you can't share the values that we're speaking of and be in that position because you wouldn't be able to do your fucking job, right? It's a conflict of interest for most people. If you have any self-awareness at all, it would be a conflict of interest. So, instead of any of these people admitting that, hey, you know what? That was kind of a dumb idea and I probably shouldn't have done that. And I accept the responsibility of that. But here's what I'm going to do going forward to remedy that situation. No, there's no accountability. They just double down like we talked about earlier, look you dead in the eyes like a psychopathic person would and just straight up lie. And this is not acceptable. Not acceptable for them, not acceptable for anyone. And we need to take the identity protective shields off and look at this situation as they are just a fucking person too. I don't care what someone's title is. I don't care what your position is. I don't care what your income is. I am a person just like you. You might live a better fucking lifestyle because you can afford it with your fancy ass gold watch, pension plan, jobs. You know what? But I'm still, when we bleed, it's still the same color, bro. So you can get fucked with your I'm better than you attitude because you ain't. You're better than me. Why? How? Tell me how you're better than me. Because you make more money? Or because you've destroyed millions of people's lives and don't give a fuck? Like, what kind of melatonin would you have to take? What kind of level of melatonin would you have to take to be able to go to sleep at night being one of these people? Tell me that. Riddle me that. I would love to know the dose. How much How many sleeping pills do these people have to take at night to be able to sleep with the things that they do? Because just because the subject matter happens to be about powers that be, they're still people. And if they were just regular people like you and I, it would be looked at in a totally different fucking light, and we all know it. So let's not play semantics here. I'm looking at it as people did illegal shit, and boom, you're going to pay for those mistakes one way or another, whether it be financially or however you decide to take that and seek your justice for your damages. But there are so many fucking lawsuits going on right now. Like, not to mention that we're already financially bankrupt as a country. Put that aside for a second, you know what I'm saying? And then, like, if you guys only knew how many federal fucking lawsuits are in the works right now, like, oh my God. Like, I got my fucking lawn chair. I got my big old bag of popcorn. Like, I am, type in the chats on the lives, and boom, I am in Facebook jail again. No bail, no trial. You're guilty. You can't comment because you know what? You speak too much truth. We don't like you. We want an echo chamber. We want silence is compliance. You are to be seen and not heard. We're back in the 20s. Where is fucking Rosa Parks when you need her? Because that's straight up where we're at. Yeah. We are regressing as a country, as a world, as a population. We are regressing. We are not progressing in any way, shape, or form. The world is on the brink of a war. It's happening. Like, I never thought it would happen in my time, but there's people that just keep poking the bear and poking the bear. Like, you can't keep poking no bear before they bite back, bitch. Facts. Like, it is what it is. Again, we're all just talking simply straight up about people, okay? There is psychopaths in this world, in my opinion, that are in positions that they have no damn business being in, that I'm sure if they spoke to like a psychologist or a shrink, they would be deemed unfit for their said positions, in my opinion. They need a life alert and a compass and a GPS just to get off a stage. They're poking people that they got no business even talking to about anything, and then don't get me started on this NATO. So this is their solution, you guys. They are going to put sanctions down on countries, on people. You know what? Like, let me break it down for you guys. Sanctions, like, they're not even worth the paper that they're fucking written on. Okay? Because you know why? We're dealing with psychopaths. Wait, I got an email. I got 64 sanctions from this country, and I can't do it. Got to retreat. I can't do it because this email says I can't do it. Like, Jesus fuckery. So now look at the cost of gas, guys. It jumped up like 20 fucking cents in one day. No joke. And it's going to keep going again. Remember what we were paying for gas? What was it? Not long ago, a few months back. And then all of a sudden, holy shit, it dropped out of nowhere. I don't know. So now, we can't have affordable fuel for people to drive their gas powered vehicles with. So we're going to raise the gas back up, and we're going to cut the supply. So, don't worry that the pipelines have been destroyed because of those sanctions, those emails, those pieces of paper. They're going to stop you. So now, because there's more demand for it, we're going to cut back the supply. Make this make sense, you guys. Please do it. If you got it, hit me up with the logic, because the way that I'm seeing it, the way that Stevie Wonder is seeing it, Stevie Wonder should have been my Abby today. Fucking A. Stevie Wonder. Because he can see what's going on here, And that's, damn, I always think of these things. It takes a bit to get going, you know what I mean? But then when I get in my groove, it's like, all these, like, the creativity runs through my veins. You know what I mean? But yeah, so the pipelines have been destroyed. We're going to cut back supply. as a country, Canada as a country, you know, we had that deal with the US for the pipelines, but no, don't work with our neighbors. Let's work with, you know, the psychopaths of the world so we can get away with our, in my opinion, the money laundering scheme, the infamous gas tax. We know where we've heard that term before. We know where we've seen that happen before. And if you know, you know. So, you know, I don't know. You gotta laugh, you know, because if not, I don't know. Who wants to be upset all the time? So I make jokes about it and I try and laugh about it because, like, at times I can't even believe it's fucking real. Like, I mean, that's why I'm documenting it, because it's like I have to go back and be like, holy shit, that was actually happening. Like, the insanity of all of this. Like, what do people from like other parts of the world think of us? You know, like Americans or Canadians. Like, what do they think of us? Like, I know the Netherlands loves Canada. They called for help, actually. Hang on, I gotta take a drink. There was a call to action from the Netherlands to Canada. They were so inspired by the Freedom Convoy that they reached out. The farmers of the Netherlands reached out to Canada, to specifically Ron Clark, freedom advocate. Love that dude. And if you are still under the, you know, ankle bracelets of Facebook, because that's where he streams. I don't know why. That's why I have Facebook, is to just catch like some people's streams. I run a group, talk to the odd person, and that's it. But like some people just still rely on that platform, which I hate. The censorship is real. Zuckerberg's going down, but meh. So the Netherlands, see how easy I get distracted? Gotta love my ADD. So the Netherlands reached out to Ron Clark because what was happening is they were trying to ban fertilizers over in the Netherlands that would ultimately reduce the amount of crops that a farmer would be able to yield each year. And that percentage was 30%. That's what it would have been. I believe it was the nitrogen. And so the call of action went out and they wanted people in Canada to back them up, because these guys, like, you know, they did their convoy, but it was with tractors this time. And because, you know, like, you attack the farmers, you attack the food, you attack the people. That is war. Like, you know, that's the way you have to look at these things. Like, you're attacking our food supply, you're attacking our finances, you know. So the Netherlands called Canada for help. There was a convoy around the world. There was a lot of support. And this is how much self-awareness our toddler baby Huey has, is, you know, when that was happening and he's seen Canadians rise up and support another country in a call to action, you know, brothers in arms, he was going to impose the same tax under the fake umbrella of climate change. That word again, we're going to tax that. There's a tax for that, but I'm gonna hop on my private jets and fly all over the world on the taxpayer's dime. But don't you worry about that, because there's a tax for that. It's called climate change, and you will all pay. Oh my God. And they think we don't see this shit happening. Like, that's the funny part. And, you know, again, to all the people that were like, no, you're wrong, no, you're crazy, no, this isn't happening, I'm not going to say I told you so. I'm going to say you're welcome, and I'm going to fucking open my arms and embrace you and hug you, because apparently you were not hugged enough as a child, and you need that right now to say it's okay. Like, I understand your stupidity. You were wrong, and I get it, and I'm not going to tell you that because you already know it, okay? But here's a hug because you need it. So it is what it is. Hugs are free. Like, come and get it if you need it. Like, you know, except for baby Huey, Jagmeet Singh, that bitch Freeland, and Mental Marco. You know, there's some people that, like, we're going to draw attention to these fine folks soon. Don't you worry about that. They're already drawing enough attention to themselves. Like, you know. So, oh my God. Did you guys see the video back in the summer where Chrystia Freeland was in Alberta, and the angry Albertan actually knew she was going to be there, and he totally like went batshit crazy on her? And you know, it's unfortunate because you know how they spin it, and they're like, oh, look at this crazy person attacking women. This is, oh, Yeah, so now that like they use these buzzwords, right? Oh, she was verbally abused by this man, this poor woman. She's such a victim. Victim. This is the woman that froze your guys' bank accounts. She's no victim. She is another one that has psychopathic tendencies, in my opinion. Like, I mean, God. And they think that we don't know what the fuck is going on here. But by the time that both of these inquiries are done and shit goes down and the lawsuits get finalized and all of this other shit, like, I don't believe there's going to be a country in the world that is going to welcome these people. They're not going to be able to go anywhere, like publicly, and show their face and not expect for people to recognize them and remember them. Like, remember Carla Homolka and Paul Bernardo? Remember how she got the deal because she rolled over on him, Paul Bernardo? And they went easier on her because, you know, she who talks first walks first. So, you know, she made this deal with the prosecution that, you know, in exchange for this, you'll get this. Well, she gets out of jail, and because she was such a fucking victim, she got to get cosmetic surgery to change her appearance, and she legally changed her name, and then get this part, went on to have kids of her own. So that's the future of all of these people that we're talking about today. That's what they're going to have to look forward to, is living their life out as someone else. And I what I would describe as witness protection, but that's just me. And sometimes I get my definitions wrong. You guys, like, you know how it is. Just a stupid taxpayer. So yeah, you gotta laugh. You just gotta laugh. Totally haven't even been looking at the comments. I was on a good roll there for a bit. Jesus fuck, Ricky. Let me go. But holy shit, I've missed a lot. Hang on a second. Oh my god. Whoa. Okay, so hang on. They oh my god. So someone put this post up in this group that I follow. And it said, do we have underground bunkers, right? That will protect us from nuclear weapons? This was the person's question. And I was like, oh, only the toddlers in Ottawa use those. Us peasants just face it. But don't worry about it. Put on a mask because they save lives, right? Oh my God. Okay, so yeah, that was that. I also, for laughs, because it's Free for All Friday, I was going to make a tinfoil hat and put it on, and come out here with a tinfoil hat on, like, but I actually didn't even have tinfoil, but if I did, it would totally have happened. Hello, James Jameson. Hello, Casper. Good to see you. Putin called our so-called leaders satanic. Well, you know that old chestnut. You ain't wrong about that. I believe they're psychopaths and like borderline serial killers, in my opinion, just based on what I've seen watching documentaries. Because I do watch a lot of documentaries. Thank you, Netflix, you know, especially about like criminals and like serial killers and all that kind of shit. Because I'm interested in like the psychology aspect of it all. Like I was talking about earlier, there's a special type of person that can do these types of things, and it's like a psychological profile that they've built up on people over time, and I find that interesting because I like to examine how some people's brains work, because like when logic does not prevail in these situations, there's got to be something. Like, is it a chip? You know, is it an mRNA thing? I don't know. What is it in these people, in these, you know, crazy people, these nutcases? Like, fuck. Let me read. Hang on, I gotta read. Let's go, Brandon. That almost made me spit my water out. Let's go, Brandon. Oh, I was talking about that the other day. Bill Gates buying up all the farmlands. Yep, Mr. Microsoft. You know, he needs to be stopped, in my opinion. There's certain people that I think are like you know, national security threats, in my opinion. Like, and he would be on that list. There is a list. I'm gonna make a list. Well, I have a list, but I'm just gonna show it one day, you know. Or you guys can take notes when I talk. And I'm sure you all agree, you know. Like there's the key players, you know. I just say their last names or their names or whatever because it's all public information. I'm not releasing any, like, I'm not dropping any bombshells here, you know, like we've already seen their true colors because they expose themselves. It's nothing that, and that's the kicker, is it's nothing that anybody has done to them. It's what they have done to themselves, but because they're psychopaths, they won't admit it. So yeah, Mr. fucking Microsoft is the ones that are going after the farmers, that are directing our food supply source, and he wants to yield their crops by 30%. And in addition, don't just bend over, but cough, because we also want to take 30% of your land so we can build properties. Like, get the fuck out of here. The properties are not going to be affordable, by the way. You are not going to be able to afford it unless you work 16 jobs and work 264 hours in 1 week as a single person to be able to afford these houses that they feel the need to build on farmers' lands. You guys, like, get with it. Hello. I need to smoke a joint because I just need you. So, let's see here. Sorry, I'm reading the comments and I'm so friggin' far behind because, you know, when I get on a good roll, if I look at the comments, it's like my ADD goes off and then I forget what I'm talking about. I think it was almost 30,000 Dutch civilians died of starvation or related causes in World War II. I don't think they forgot that. Well, you know, remember we were talking earlier about history repeating itself in times that it didn't serve us well in the first place. So let's go back to like a world war, which, you know, are we in it? Are we at the verge of it? Like, when are we going to know when we're in it? Because the government's going to come on TV and tell us. They went easier on her because she was a woman. Who are you talking about, Shangy? Are you talking about Freeland, or I don't know? Like, I'm super behind on the comments. And she was worse, a pretty blonde woman. Who are we talking about? And yes, she was worse. Who? No, I don't know. And I'm still way far behind on the comments. Swapping species next. Yep. I identify today as a tinfoil hat. It's tinfoil hat Friday. Freedom free for all. Anything goes on Friday. Oh, Carla Homolka. Yeah. Oh, yeah. See what I mean? Thank you. I need you guys in these comments. Yes, sir. Yeah, she was. Carla Homolka was taking psychology courses so she could learn how to play the battered victim more convincingly. Well, I agree with that, but also, like I said before, the one who talks first walks first, right? Like, I mean, that's just the way it goes. And like, we're dealing with upstanding, top-notch police work. So, you know, the way that they look at it is, well, let's get the bigger problem. So they thought it was Paul, and she rolled on him, even though it was her sister, one of the victims. That whole thing was just mental. And then when it happened, you guys remember when it happened, like to my Canadian folks in this group right now, like, do you guys remember when that happened and there was a publication ban on it? Like, and then they made a Netflix movie. I can't remember her real name, but she was in Orange is the New Black, and she was Donna from that 70s show. She played that character, and they wouldn't play it in Canada. You needed a VPN to watch it. Like, come on, you guys. You don't think we knew what happened back then? But they put a publication ban on it. See? Even back in those days, they were scrubbing the internet. Like, what's with the fucking censorship, you guys? Like, if you're not afraid of the truth, what are you afraid of? Like, what is it? Like, are you allergic to it? Do you break out in hives from it? Does it give you a rash? Does it make you sweat? Like, what is the problem with the truth? Why do people not like the truth? Because it's not pretty? Oh, let me wipe your chin with your bib. Fuck. Okay, hang on. Sorry, I'm still way behind on the comments. Okay. Almost all the serial killers were trained by the military. Oh, God, I know, actually. And that's a whole different live on its own as well. Because I have come to learn a lot of things that, whoo boy, no wonder why there's so many military veterans that have PTSD. Straight up facts, y'all. Let's see. Yeah, military. And then, they're talking about drafting people. I heard that as a rumor, and I hope that that's not true, but the person that said it like gives out 100% false, or sorry, facts and information, and is never wrong. They said that they have heard a lot of people, like, we're going to be drafting and we're getting ready to get boots on the ground. And you know what? We got no damn business interfering in this bullshit anyways. You got bigger problems at home, but instead you're going to poke the bear with the nukes. Like, yeah, great idea. Like, if you're on a suicide mission, do it alone. You know what I mean? Don't take a country down with you. But hey, what the hell do I know? You know, I don't wear a diaper and I'm not a toddler, so I'm not qualified to speak on such subjects. Okay. Um, Willie Picton, Canadians war serial killer. Who was that one? Willie Picton. I don't remember that name. Can you remind me of what they did? Because that's not a name I remember. He's hardly Canadians' worst serial killer, and he sure as hell wasn't working alone. Sick fucks like Clifford Olson were certainly worse. Whoops. Gotta hit the beer store, Kim. Oh, no problem. Cheers, bud. Oh, that dude, the one who fed the pigs to women. I remember that. That was his name. What was it? Willie Picton? Is that who the pig guy was? Yeah, he would put women. He would put bodies through. Oh, I don't even like saying it, but honest to God, a wood chipper. Oh, and then feed it to the pigs. I remember that. Oh my God, was that the dude's name? Clifford Olson was, and a child killer, and he bribed the police into making a stupid deal with him in exchange for the location of their bodies. See, you got to give to get. You know what I mean? And that's just like, you have to think like these people, right? So you make deals with the devil. Um, that's what that is. In my books, that's called ratting. But then, where does one draw the line at ratting and then saving yourself? Like, it depends on the situation that we're talking about, of course. But if you're in a position where, like, say, okay, for an instance, okay, let's say we're not talking about like killing or something like on a major scale, but let's say like it's something that could equally be, a significant amount of time in jail. And they're framing you basically because, like, how much trust do we have in these people, right? When does it become ratting, and then when does it become saving yourself? Because, like, I'm not really sure where that line is drawn with some people. So if you could explain the difference to me, that would be fantastic. I would love that. No, I don't think that. I don't think that if Paul Bernardo spoke first, he would have gotten a better deal. No, I don't think that at all. Yeah, Laura Prepon, thank you. No, I don't think that at all. I think, like, again, they had a publication ban on a lot of things. So, and even if they didn't, like, let's just take that caveat and say, even if they didn't have a publication ban on it, do you think that the media would report truthfully to us what that situation was? But I have to look at it as, like, one of the victims was her sister. So to me, I can't honestly say if justice was served accurately in that situation, because they limited us on the details. So I can't honestly answer that truthfully because I don't have all the facts, and I don't like to make opinions if I don't know all the facts, because in my books that's stupid. Okay, hang on. The reason why there was a publication ban was because they didn't want the public to know how incompetent, oh my God, the police were. The fact that they had his DNA and didn't analyze it. Okay, have you guys heard, Shangy, you're Canadian, dude. You have to have heard of Commissioner Brenda Lucki from the RCMP in Halifax, Nova Scotia. You have to have heard about her. Like, remember when the mass shootings happened in Nova Scotia? And it was right around the time that baby Huey, our toddler PM, was trying to implement the ban on assault rifles. And he Brenda Lucky, the commissioner for the RCMP, had to basically was forced into, received a lot of pressure to disclose the type of weapons that were involved in an active, you guys, active shooting situation at the time. Baby Huey just picked up his old celly and was like, yo, Brenda, what kind of weapons are involved here? Because like, I need to know that information right now, even though the guy's on the loose, even though he's still out there shooting people, driving around in, you guys get this, a fucking police car. Okay. No joke. I swear to you, I'm not lying. This fucking guy decides one day he's going to go on a shooting spree, and he had a police car driving around, just cruising around. Don't worry about it. Don't know how that happened. How did that happen, Brenda Lucky? She don't know. Cabinet confidentiality. She doesn't know how that happened. And then, gets a phone call right in the middle of all of this and was like, yo, what weapons were used? Because that's going to help me pass my gun bill, or, these legislation, that's what they call it, bills or legislation, to ban certain types of guns from the legal gun owners, you guys. Because, the guy that was driving around in a fucking RCMP cruiser on a mass shooting spree, actively, while she's on her cell phone, texting back and forth with baby Huey, what type of weapons were involved. But don't worry about, like, don't ask the obvious question of, like, how the fuck did this guy get a cop car and drive around for 2 days in it? And get this, even people called and were like, why is there a cop car at this guy's house for like the last 18 hours and nobody's been by to look into why that is? Oh my God. So, don't draw attention to the fact that these people are totally incompetent, because, that doesn't matter. They just oversee, the RCMP and the police. Like, holy fuck, I have never in my entire life seen such incompetence in people and the ability to do their jobs, where they hold a title of such, maybe they need like to be a McDonald's server or go be a Walmart greener, because like, you can't even spell your job description, never mind do it. Okay. And you've made that fucking obvious time and time again. And then, oh, Brenda Lucky. Oh, yeah. Like, but the police aren't corrupt, you guys. You're not allowed to think that. That would be irresponsible of you. Okay, just a second. Yes. He was batshit bonkers. To be frank, probably more to the story. I'm sure there was. Before anyone was killed, back when it was just a string of rapes, they had Paul Bernardo's DNA and ruled him out as a suspect because he charmed the police while talking to them. Well, you know what case comes to mind when you make that comment was the Chris Watts case. Because if you want to talk about someone who did not fit the profile of what one would consider to be able to commit the crimes that he did, he didn't look like a psychopath. In fact, he looked totally opposite, in my opinion, of what the profile would be. He was shy. He was not confident. He doubted himself a lot. His wife put him in the public eye, and he didn't want to be. Like, he was always one off to the side of the camera, like, and just, I don't know, it just didn't fit the profile to me of what one would consider for someone to do a crime like what he did. So that's one where the profilers would have been wrong. Good thing they always look at the spouse first, though. Robert Picton. Oh, okay. I'm going to have to do some research on this. Like, those details have escaped me because of how long it's been, right? Like, I remember them at the time that they happened, but like, we're talking, well, God, how long was Karla Homolka? Like, over 25 years ago. So yeah, like, those details don't, I lived in Port, you know the word. I've been there. I Coquitlam. I didn't work inside the prison. Oh, you did work inside the prison where they were keeping him during his trial? Really? I didn't know that. And I didn't know you lived in BC either. I thought you were always in Alberta. Willie was his nickname. I'm going to have to look that up because it actually sounds kind of interesting. Is it bad that I'm interested in this? But not for the sake of like what it is, but more for, like I said, the psychology, trying to understand, like, I don't know if that's my way of breaking it down into a way that I can understand how these people can do things like this, you know, like, because it just doesn't make sense to a logical person otherwise. Hi, Casper. I had some sausages from Canada called Willie Sausages. Yeah. Jimmy Dean Sausage. Hope that wasn't the same guy. Yeah, me too. That's creepy and disturbing, and also a little bit nauseating, but funny. Because she was jealous that Paul was more attracted to her. Well, bitches be crazy. Hey, Shangy, what? Oh my God. Okay. So have you guys heard about the Pierre Polyev? He's using, and you know how I know this is bullshit is they're not even using the right hashtag. So they broke this scandal that you know, for Pierre Polyev's YouTube posts that he was posting, that he was using the hashtag MGTOW. Men go their own way. Like, we know it's a YouTube community. It's been out here for years, and they're not even spelling it right, but they're accusing him of this and being a misogynist, because this is how we are. This is how we function as a society. You know, like the toddlers that go to the Senate every day and go on TV and represent, you know, Canadians, are more worried about hashtags and name calling and, you know, breaking crimes, breaking laws, looking you in the eye and lying with absolutely no problem whatsoever. But, you know, they're not even using the right hashtag. She covered up aspects of the crime for political reasons. And that is the thing. It's unfortunate, you know, because, and you could see that that was what the case was last night when I was watching, you know, Commissioner Slowly trying to explain his actions. Is you could see it, that he was struggling in his face, that he wanted to just come out and say, listen, I was getting pressure from the toddler, and like, either do this or step down. And instead of being fired, he stepped down. And they kept pressuring him and saying, why would you step down at the time you did? You were almost at the finish line. Why would you do that? Like, tell us the answer that we all know is the truth, because you were getting pressure from JT and his little homies, you know? Yeah. Not the bacon. I thought the bacon was off a bit. Ted Bundy. Yeah, that's another charmer. Ted Bundy. I watched that documentary, and like, I mean, that dude was totally batshit crazy too. Again, you know what I mean? Like, it's a profile of a guy that you just, like, there's certain ones that you would see, right? Like, I've watched a lot of like documentaries about some crazy ass serial killers, okay, that like straight up showed no remorse whatsoever. They're sitting on death row. They have no shame in their game. Like, they are just insane, and they don't care who knows it, you know. And I don't want to say names, because one of the names would upset people in a certain community, and that is not my intention at all. But it was a serial killer that was involved in a community that I am a part of, and I don't want to upset anybody. But this person, during their documentary, showed no remorse whatsoever. In fact, when they spoke about it, not only were they like you know, emotionally detached, but like almost enjoying it, like bragging about it, like had a smile on their face when they were like recalling the events. It was bizarre, it was alarming, it was absolutely fucking psychotic. So yeah, but I don't know, it's insanity. But yeah, let me see, did I catch up on the comments? You're new here? Oh, well, welcome, Casper. Thank you for joining. Don't be shy. Don't be shy around here, y'all. We're all friends, you know. Yeah, definitely don't be shy around here. I mean, if you want to protect your identity, I totally am. I totally understand that 100%. Because, you know, there's a lot of crazy people that walk these YouTube streets. You know, when you come out here, you can, if you're a content creator and you say something just a little bit off, or you have the wrong opinion, or, you know, you look at a situation entirely differently, then, you know, they do what normal people do, and they just go do a background check on you and like expose, you know, if you have any type of criminal history or any sort of public information available about you, they will disclose that. So I have no problem with people being, confidential and wanting their, anonymous, to stay anonymous. I totally understand that and respect it. They wore masks. Tin Can Beach in the profile. What? Did I miss something? I think I missed something. I don't know. Okay, just a second. I guess I'm so far behind. Hang on a second. Oh no, don't hide under your bed. Oh my God. You gotta be kidding, right? What did I say? Oh no, what did I say? That's hilarious. Or maybe not hilarious. I don't know. What, am I the only one listening to this hiding under my bed? Oh my God. What did I say? I hope I didn't scare you. Sounds like I did. I am really sorry. Climate change is totally the biggest grift ever. Oh no, I feel bad about this Casper person. You're very scared. Well, what did I say? What was it that got you under your bed? Oh my God. I'm just reading comments here. Hang on. Wait, what? The guy who tipped the police off about Picton having guns on his farm, Scott Chubb. He lived in my building when I was a kid. He was a creep. Who? The guy that told the cops about him, or dude that used the bone crusher chipper thing? Oh my God, that's too funny. That's so funny. Say hi to the Queen, Casper. Hello, Casper. I'm sorry that you're afraid. Don't be afraid. The only thing that scares me anymore is centipedes and spiders. Beyond that, I'm afraid of nothing. Had lunch with her yesterday. Who? With the Queen? Who's the Queen? You can't be talking about the real Queen because she died. It's a king now. And then, you know what's funny about that? Not that I should say this, and I'm not trying to offend anybody. If you feel differently, I've always kind of had an issue with the royal family, only because I don't believe anybody is superior to anyone else in this world. Like, go fuck yourself. I don't care who you are. No offense if you support it. And, this is just my opinion. But, supporting the colonization of people because of their ethnicity is so wrong in my opinion, and I can't stand behind that. So if you do, that's fine. I mean, like, maybe you supported her for different reasons or whatever, but that's just my personal outlook on the situation. But yeah, that's just me, and it's probably not a popular opinion, and I understand that. And I honestly mean no offense to anybody, but that's just my opinion, you know. And there was another interesting thing, actually, now that I think about it, and I don't know how this just popped in my mind. Did any of you guys hear about what happened at the Ledge Grounds in Winnipeg? Anyone? I heard about it. Well, only for the last few days. I didn't know what was going on prior to that. But did anybody in this chat hear what was going on in Winnipeg at the Ledge Grounds and what happened with the Indigenous people and the cops? I guess there was people. I'm gonna have to look into why. Like, different content creators that I follow covered different aspects of, obviously all of it, like different events. And there was events going on at the Ledge Grounds, and they were protesting. And from what I understand of the story is, I'm not sure what the situation was, but all I heard is that they had 2 teepees set up on the Ledge Grounds in Winnipeg. Okay, the legislature building. They call it the Ledge Grounds for short. And I heard that before the third TP was put up, something to do with some sort of thing from the chief. I am not entirely sure of the details. In fact, I don't know really what the situation is going on there, but apparently from what I'm told, the orders came from above. I don't know why, but there was people inside of these teepees. The police went in, there was kids in there, there was women in there, and they had their guns drawn, and like shit went down, and it wasn't good. And it was to another clan mother, and I don't understand the situation of what was going on. What the guy that I follow, like for his like live streams and stuff, his buddy was there at the time that this happened, and I guess he was arrested. So like he's gonna come on a live with Ron and explain better the situation of what was happening. So that's gonna be really interesting. But he did get bail. I don't know how he got out so damn soon, because he's gonna have to share his little secret there, man. I don't know, because it seems like if you get arrested here in Canada for any sort of political reason at all, you are just held in court with no bail, with no nothing. Like you're just made to sit there and wait until they decide you can talk to a lawyer, or you decide, or they decide when you can go to court for a bail review. You know, you just don't do it. Like you are up there with the serial killers that we were talking about. Like, oh my God. Holy fuck. Like they're more concerned about political bullshit than they are about laws. Like what trumps the other, you know? What is supposed to be more precedent setting? A law or an opinion? A political opinion? Like, what the fuck, you guys? Make it make sense to me. Like, seriously. And I'm just going to say this, okay? If they're trying to act like this Ottawa convoy was an insurrection, it was an occupation, according to them, we're misogynistic, we're right-wing extremists, we are white supremacists, we are misogynistic, we are the small fringe minority with unacceptable views, and we're not sure how long we're going to tolerate these people anyways. That's what we are. And like, if what they're saying is true, then why are individuals only being charged with mischief and not sedition? Riddle me that, Joker. Sedition is an act to overthrow a current government. That is what sedition is. And not one single person involved in the convoy was charged with that. There was open communication between the organizers and the police. And like, there's supposed to be a protocol that was supposed to be followed by law to even invoke the Emergencies Act. It was supposed to get voted upon in the House. Then it was supposed to go to the Senate. Then it was supposed to be issued. And instead of following procedure, our little toddler PM just bypassed all of it, did what he did, released the thugs and the horses, and then had everything done and, you know, everyone traumatized, even before it was deemed to have been an act that they could have taken legally or not. And that's what the focus of this inquiries commission is now it comes down to, okay, you made this decision and now you're going to have to answer for it. And let's see what happens when. Do the Native Americans have own grounds in Canada like US? Yes, they do. So I can't speak for everywhere. I live in Ontario, and I've also lived in Alberta, and I've also spent a lot of time in British Columbia as well. But I know, like, we have, they call themselves their own territories. So like closest to where I live, like there's the First Nations, there's Six Nations, there's, I don't know, and I don't want to name them the wrong tribe. I'm not entirely sure, But yeah, they have their own like laws. They have their own, in some places. I learned during the Saskatchewan stabbings that it's not the same everywhere. Um like the structure of the reserve that I live near, because it's like one of the bigger reserves, they have their own police, they have their own laws, they have their own everything, like their own infrastructure. But what I learned through the Saskatchewan stabbings is that the reserves out there do not. Like their structure is a completely different setup. So like, you know, there's a lot of things that I don't understand about that, and I wish that I had more knowledge, because I would love to support them and their cause and how they've been mistreated over the years, and I would love to like do some activism on like to help them, but I don't know enough about it, and it's a really touchy subject to bring up to people. Like, I mean, you know, a lot of them maybe don't necessarily want to talk about it. I'm not sure, and I don't want to overstep any boundaries, but I think at the very bare minimum, like every single person on this earth should have clean drinking water. Like, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, there's so many ideas that I have for different shows that I could do that would really open people's eyes to a world that they probably really didn't even know existed here. But I think I would have to make different channels to keep it all straight, because like it's all separate, but it all ties in together. It's kind of hard to explain, but like if I had to try and explain it, like picture, you know, the top of like, okay, picture like a triangle or something. Like there's a top, right? So like that's one circle. And then there's like, you know, arrows with like sub circles. You know where I'm going with this. But it all weaves in together, you know, and that's what a lot of people don't realize. Like I see a lot of people that have like tunnel vision, and they just either don't want to see it or just focus on one thing, or don't realize like they're all correlated. I'm not entirely sure, but like, you know, up until a few years ago, like I was kind of, I don't know if you want to say naive to it or ignorant to it, or maybe it just wasn't at the forefront of my mind. um Yeah, when you go into a courtroom, you're already condemned. Yeah, and you know what? That was a bitter pill for me to swallow, because I always believed in justice. Like when I was a kid, I used to want to be a lawyer. I honest to God, straight up facts. I did. Like because I've always been one to stand up for what's right, and I'm always the one to stand up for like the underdog. Like seriously, always happened from the time that I was a kid. And I guess I never changed. But I have strong beliefs, right? Like I mean, I'm an all or nothing kind of person. Like either I'm all in or I'm all out, like one of the two. And yeah. Uh I used to believe in justice. I used to believe in a lot of good things, you know, like law, doing the right thing, integrity, honesty, transparency, you know, like all of the core values that have just been totally stomped on by horses. That's a good analogy, because that's what happened. But yeah, it's very unfortunate, and I hope that like the hope has been destroyed a long time ago, if I'm being honest. But I hope that, you know, somebody in the powers that be. Who was that dude on the, do you guys remember the show Inspector Gadget? Who was the dude that sat at the desk that had the cat, you know, who would send the messages to fucking Inspector Gadget? You know, this message will self-destruct in 5 seconds. You know, who was that? What was that dude's name? I want to be that dude. Like, I want to sit behind the desk and hit the button, and just that's the way it is, you know. Like, here's the order, take it or leave it. Like, you know, yeah. Oh, it's coming, James. It's, oh Lord, it's coming. The revolution, the revy, it's coming. Yeah, I always say that. Go go gadget arms, or go go gadget helicopter. What was the dude's name that gave out the fucking orders though? Who was that? Oh man, it's gonna bug me. I need to know his name, but yeah, that's who I want to be. I want to sit in that chair. You never see the dude's face. It's like Darth Vader, right? Like face always, Luke, I'm your father. Like, I mean, you don't get to see the guy like this, mystery of like who is that person calling all of the fucking shots, that we can't even see their face. Like, who are you? I don't know, but I would have to Google it, and I don't want to do it while I'm live, but that's where I'm going with this. I don't know, maybe it's my ADD mind, but I have different ways, different views, the way I correlate things, and it's really a talent, actually. It's taken many years to craft this talent of logic and the way that this brain operates. It's not like a normal brain. It's an ADD mind. So my learning is different than the average bear. School was always quite fun, because back in those days, they didn't have kids running around on Ritalin at fucking 4 years old. You know what I mean? Or at 8 years old, or at 16, or, they waited till I was like full on 34. Like, here you go, you got ADD. Oh, and by the way, you've had it your whole entire life, but we're going to address it now, good on you. So, but yeah, they just called us bad kids back in the day, like we didn't get, special ed or a different extra time for learning, or, it was a one size fits all type of teaching. Either you read these chapters and you do this fucking test and you get like, 10 out of 10, or you are a straight up idiot and go sit in the fucking hall. And by the way, go see the principal because you're in trouble again. Like, that's how my school experience went down. Like, so, but yeah, they just couldn't accept that people learn at a different rate, in a different way. Everyone processes things differently, especially with a fucking ADD brain. Like, especially if you're talking about like certain subjects that I'm just not interested in, like science or math or French. Like, I just tune out. Like, my brain is like, yeah, fuck this. Like, it's just not accepting the information. Like, I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I'm not interested in it or what it is. Like, the doctors can't even explain it in real terms that would make you understand. It's just an ADD brain. You just don't care. You don't listen. Your brain's off in fucking la la land. Like, oh, I wonder what I'm doing today, or it's interesting. Makes for like a lot of fun times. I'll tell you that. Yes, I used to get the belt as well. I was actually thinking about that the other day. Funny you mentioned that. We used to get the belts in school. I remember one time when when I was a kid, I jaywalked, because we all do it, like everybody fucking does it. And somebody, I don't know, somebody called the school. Okay. So after lunch, I go back to school and they called me into the office and they're like, did you cross the road like out front of the school and you didn't walk up to the light? And I was like, I was like, yeah, whatever. So, like, why are you calling me into the office for this? And like, they were legitimately going to give me the strap for that. So they called my parents, and my parents, get this, my parents had to come into the school about this, and they were talking about the strap. And my dad goes, well, just so you know, like, if she gets the strap here, she's getting it at home too. And it was like, I don't know, maybe the principal, I remember it was Mr. Kirkham at the time. Holy fuck. But yeah, I don't know. I think he felt bad, or maybe it was Mr. Trumbull. I can't remember. Or Tyndall. I don't know. Fuck. Don't expect me to remember. But yeah, I guess he felt bad and was like, no, all for jaywalking. Like, I mean, yeah. But they legitimately gave people the strap. Like, and then they wonder why, like, our generation is the way that it is. Oh, well, I wonder why. Let's get that profiler back up, the one we were talking about earlier, about like profiling people and stuff like that. Let's review. Let's review. Yeah, that should be a segment all the time. But, they've supposedly learned the error of their ways and don't do that nowadays. They just allow teachers to walk into schools with the biggest fake balloon boobs you've ever seen in your entire life, and like don't want to address it because they know it's a walking lawsuit. So, you know, I think the best part is that they just got schooled on their own quote unquote woke politics. How do you like me now? This guy is on the verge of retirement and he's going out with a huge retirement bonus, if you know what I'm saying, whether it's a buy off or a human rights claim or however he wants to play it out. But it was brilliant. And this is the way our world works now. So get with it or get left behind, I guess, right? Yep. I think it's actually kind of brilliant, to be honest with you. He schooled them on their own policies. So let that be a lesson to you. Hi, Teresa. I like the belt better than detention. Oh my God. Yeah. They would give me detention when I skipped school in high school. But they wouldn't give me they would make me sit in the office. Like, yeah, but well, it backfired on them, put it that way. Only 2 teachers could really hit. Everyone was well behaved in their class. Well, yeah, right? Because you don't want to get beat with a freaking belt. Like, holy shit, Like, what is wrong with this world? Holy shit. Yes, the world has gone mad. You're damn right. I agree. But I don't know. Is it going to get better or worse? What do you guys think? I know what I think. You guys all know what I think. I've told you enough. What are your thoughts? Like, what's the next thing? Is it nuclear? Is it not? Who knows? Like, at this point, I have way more questions than I have answers. And I think that's probably for the best, I would think. Because if we really had the answers, we might not be so happy all the time. Mad Max, was that the dude's name? Yeah, I think it was. Storms are coming. Totally, man. It's brewing big time. Yep. Yep. Worse. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's very, very uncertain times that we're in. I always keep saying, like, I feel like I should get this on a fucking t-shirt at this point. I feel like it should say, like, always, I haven't seen this in my lifetime. I've never seen this before in my lifetime. Like, I feel like that is like, I'm always saying that, but it's true. Like, it's just like, what is really going on here? Like, God, it's insanity. And it's just, I don't know, like it's for the people who are critical thinkers and use logic, it's a form of fucking Chinese water torture, in my opinion. Like, it's just like you're dragging it out. Like, you know what I mean? We know what's happening here. And like, it's just like, I'm kind of at the point where I'm over it now. It's like, it's been going on for too long. Like, let's get this show on the road because I got some shit to do. You know what I mean? That's the way I feel about it. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen the way that they have designed it to happen. And if there's really is nothing that we can do about it at this point, then, I mean, let the chips fall where they may. I mean, what else can you do? You can't worry about it all the time. You can't let it upset you all the time like we've been doing. You can't let it interfere with your life. You can't let it affect you as a person who was usually very happy and bubbly and life of the party and just way outgoing. And, you can't let it turn you into what it has. But it's funny that the truth sometimes is not very forgiving. Yeah. Blowing up the Russian. Yeah. Well, and that was just an excuse to raise the gas again, which we already knew was coming because we talked about it, because they've reduced the supply of a commodity that you need. Okay. Like, oh my God. It makes me like facepalm to the head, like so often. Like, I do that so much. Like, oh my God. It's just, yeah, it is what it is. It's a war of a different type. It's ideological, it's psychological warfare. You know, it's not about weapons anymore. It's not about violence. It's about, you know, cultural wars, sexual, gender, politics. It's all of these things that make you question your core values, your beliefs, your whole being. You know, they want people walking around like confused because it's easier to you know, persuade people when they're under a state of duress and a state of confusion and a state of uncertainty. And you know, they're going to collapse the financial market. That's coming very soon. People are getting leery, you know, rightfully so. It's just, it's like I talk about it all the time because I want it to be like a in your face bitch. Like, you know, if you think you're fooling everybody, you're not. Like there's a lot of people that know what's going on, and that can be our reward, is that we were right all along. And don't let anybody mess with your head to make you think otherwise, because you were right and it's just whatever. It is what it is. I'm scared too, Teresa. I'm beyond scared now. Like it's way, way beyond scared. Scared was like 2 years ago. Now it's like, uh, I don't even know how to describe it, what it is now. It's just, I guess it's just acceptance. I guess I finally went through all the stages, you know, and I'm just at the acceptance stage. Like, but I'm not going down on my knees. I will be going down on my feet, you know, take a stand or a knee. And it's coming to that, and we know that. So, but the thing that they've done is they did it perfectly, actually. They took our weapons, they took our voice. In some cases, they took your jobs, your loved ones, your sanity, your money. They've taken everything from you. So now it's to the point where it's like, you know, what's left? I mean, really. They've devalued our dollar. Like our toddler prime minister just wants to keep printing money. With so it has absolutely zero value. A lot of people talk about Bitcoin. I don't even know what the fuck Bitcoin is. Okay. Like, I mean, like I've said before on many streams, I'm old school. Like, you can't reinvent the wheel for some people. You know, I guess I happen to be one of those people. Like, it's just, it's what you were, it's what you know, it's traditional for you, it's normal for you. There's, again, talking about the ADD and certain subjects I don't understand, and my mind just shuts down, and it's like I can't process what you're saying because it's not computing in my mind. And you know, that's probably why they call it the fourth wave industrial revolution, right? Technology takes over, and it was done to target a certain demographic. And unfortunately, I fall into that demographic and beyond us, like, you know, the boomers and all that. Because there's some people that just, like, you can't, some people are just set in their ways, and that's just what it is. You know what I mean? Like, and the older you are and the way you've seen it for so long, like, you just will not accept another way. Operation Mockingbird. Program the masses with nonsense and fear. Yep, exactly. And that's what, I mean, it's all been done. It's all been spelled out. It's all been laid out for you, like on a silver fucking platter, you know. And it's to the point now that either you get it or you don't. And I also can say now that I understand why people don't, but it doesn't mean, like, you remember the song Twisted Sister, we're not gonna take it. Well, that's what we should all be playing right now. It's okay to stand up. And soon it's gonna be a requirement, in my opinion. I mean, if I'm basing it on what I see coming, then yeah, it's we're there. Like we're We're on the cusp, okay? So you need to decide what's best for you and your family. You have to decide if you are going to submit or if you are going to rise the fuck up, say it loud, say it proud, and let's get this shit done. And I respect either choice you make because you have to do what's best for you at the end of the day.
There are thousands of passionate, patriotic, and peaceful Canadians on the Hill right now who just want to be heard.
I support the truckers and everyone standing up for the freedom movement. Go truckers.
I support the Canadian Truckers Freedom Convoy to Ottawa.
I wanted to come on here to let you guys know that I 150% support the Truckers Convoy headed to Ottawa.
Be there Saturday?
I'll be supporting the truckers.
Protest day number 3. We are standing firm. We are holding the line. We got our big Canadian flag over here. Maybe this driver will talk to us, right? You told me earlier you're an owner-operator? Or used to be?
Used to be.
Still are?
Well, my truck's at the shop right now. We'll get it fixed up and then we get to go again.
So, you told me you've been here for every day so far since Saturday?
Every day since Saturday morning, 5 a.m.
Well, we appreciate you being out here, man.
It's the least I can do. If I lose my job, I got nothing better to do than be out here and see if the others don't face the same problem I have.
Exactly. We're all in it for the freedom of our country back, right?
It's the name of the game right there.
Shining on me now.
Remember that fight that we had back in early January, February, late January, early February? The one that made us go stand on the highway bridges, the ones that made us drive to Ottawa, the ones that relit the fire in us that we thought had burned out a long time ago. Well, it turns out that the fire wasn't put out. It just needed oxygen. And I feel like, we took the summer to enjoy the calm before the storm. So that fire is back. It's burning like a mofo. And I will see you guys soon. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it. I apologize I went so long. I didn't really realize that I had so much to say, but once you get going, you can't stop. All right, guys. Peace out. Thanks for joining me. See you on the next one.